unmarked beach. It was supposed to be a quick weekend trip. For friends, Aiden, Mia, Lucas, and Chloe drove down the coast looking for a quiet, untouched beach, somewhere far from the crowd, where no one could disturb them. After hours of driving, they saw a narrow dirt road leading through the cliffs. No signs, no directions, just a rusted old board that read, "Private property. Keep out." But curiosity always wins. They followed it. After 10 minutes, the trees opened up, and there it was, a massive stretch of silver sand, glowing under the setting sun. Waves perfectly still, as if frozen in time. No footprints, no shells, no sound of seagulls. "Damn, this place is beautiful," Lucas said, kicking off his shoes. But Mia frowned. "It doesn't even show on Google Maps." Still, they unpacked. They lit a fire. They laughed. As the sky turned deep orange, Aiden noticed something strange. Their footprints were gone. Every few seconds, the sand behind them smoothed itself out, like someone was erasing their presence. Chloe brushed it off. "It's just wind." But there was no wind. When night fell, the waves began to glow faintly blue, bioluminescent, they thought. Beautiful at first, until Lucas realized the glow wasn't coming from algae. It was coming from beneath the surface, like something alive, moving, watching. And when Aiden shined his flashlight into the waves, they all saw it. Dozens of pale faces, just under the water, staring back at them. The midnight waves. For a long moment, none of them spoke. The flashlight trembled in Aiden's hand as he tried to make sense of what he was seeing. Faces, pale, motionless, eyes open, staring through the shifting waves. "Must be reflections," Lucas muttered, trying to sound calm. But when he stepped closer, the water rippled, and one of the faces moved, turned toward him. Mia screamed, stumbling backward, and the flashlight slipped from Aiden's hand into the surf. The beam sank slowly, illuminating shapes beneath the water, human shapes. Hundreds of them. The group ran back to the fire, their footsteps erased again by the shifting sand. Chloe's voice shook. "This isn't right, we need to leave. Now." But their car was parked at the top of the cliff, a 15-minute walk through the dark forest trail. And when they turned toward it, something made their stomachs twist. The trail was gone. The cliff behind them had changed. Now it was just a wall of jagged black rock, stretching endlessly in both directions. Lucas tried to run along the shore, searching for an opening, but he stopped dead when he noticed. The sea wasn't retreating. The tide was coming in too fast, too high. The fire hissed as water began to lick the edge of the camp. Then, out in the dark waves, the pale figures began to rise, one by one, their forms gliding toward shore without making a single splash. Mia whispered, "They're walking," but their feet never touched the sand. They floated silent, swaying, like drowned bodies returning home. And then, one of them spoke Aiden's name. The haunting escape. The whispering name sent chills down Aiden's spine. He grabbed Mia's arm, and they bolted toward the darkened cliff trail, only to find it vanished completely. "Which way?" Chloe screamed, but the beach had changed. The sand stretched endlessly in both directions, shimmering faintly blue under the moonlight. The waves pulsed as if alive, drawing them closer to the water. Lucas stopped suddenly. "Look," he whispered. The pale figures had formed a semicircle around the fire. They didn't run. They didn't walk. They glided, silent and unyielding, faces void of emotion, yet somehow aware, watching their every move. Aiden's mind raced. "The car. We need to get to the car." But the fire flickered violently, and shadows leapt across the sand. When the flames died, they were alone, and yet the water hissed as if whispering secrets. Suddenly, Chloe screamed, pointing to the waves. One figure had stepped onto the sand. Its pale, wet hand reached toward her. Time slowed. Lucas grabbed Chloe and yanked her back. They ran blindly along the shoreline, sand giving way beneath their feet, waves lapping unnaturally fast. Every step felt heavier, every scream swallowed by the windless night. Behind them, the whispering intensified. Not just names anymore, words. Stay, stay, stay forever. They stumbled into a shallow cave along the edge of the cliff, panting, soaked, and terrified. Inside, it was dark, damp, and suffocating. But at least, it wasn't the beach, or so they thought. A faint glow reflected off the walls. Aiden stepped closer, and froze. Scrawled across the jagged rock, written in wet sand that somehow clung to the stone, were words. "Welcome back. We've been waiting." The beach's darkest secret. The words on the cave wall burned themselves into their minds. "Welcome back. We've been waiting." Aiden ran his hand along the wet stone. The sand felt warm, alive. He shivered. Mia's flashlight flickered, revealing faint handprints in the rock. Hundreds of them, pressed deep into the stone, as if trapped souls had clawed to escape. Lucas whispered, "This isn't just a beach. It's a trap." Chloe's voice trembled. "A trap for who?" "For us." A soft gurgling echoed from deeper in the cave. They turned toward the sound and saw a pool of dark water. Reflected in its surface wasn't their own faces, but dozens of pale figures, floating silently, eyes wide and unblinking. "They're us," Mia stammered, pointing. But before anyone could react, the water rippled violently. One figure slowly climbed out. The skin glistened wet, eyes black as night. It moved with eerie grace, approaching without a sound. Aiden stumbled backward. "Run!" They bolted, but the cave seemed endless. Every turn led to another identical pool, another figure rising from the water. The sand underfoot shifted, pulling them toward the pools as if the beach itself had a will. Chloe screamed as a hand shot up from one pool, grasping at her ankle. They yanked free, heart pounding, lungs burning. But the whispering voices filled their minds. "Stay with us, forever." Finally, they stumbled into a large chamber. At its center was a massive black mirror. The surface rippled like water, and they saw themselves, or rather, what they were destined to become. Pale, staring, trapped beneath the reflective surface. The realization hit them all at once. The beach didn't just erase people, claimed their souls. The waves outside began to crash violently, glowing brighter, illuminating hundreds of faces just beneath the water. Faces waiting, patient, hungry. Aiden turned to the others. "We have to escape before we become them." The desperate escape. Adrenaline surged through them. Aiden grabbed Mia's hand, Lucas pulled Chloe along, and they sprinted toward the faint light at the cave's entrance. The beach outside had changed. The sand stretched endlessly, darker now, glistening as if soaked in something unnatural. The waves crashed higher, glowing in eerie blue, and the pale figures floated silently above the sand, gliding toward them. "We need a plan," Lucas shouted, panic in his voice. But there was no trail, no path, no escape, only the endless shore and the rising tide. Aiden remembered the rusted board they had passed earlier. The cliffs. "We came from the cliffs." They ran in that direction, but the cliffs had twisted unnaturally, towering above them, blocking their way. Mia tripped, nearly falling into the glowing waves. A figure's hand brushed her shoulder. She screamed, scrambling back, heart hammering. Then Chloe noticed their footprints in the sand, moving in reverse. Something was erasing their escape as they ran. "We won't make it," Chloe whispered, tears streaming. Aiden gritted his teeth. "We have to try. Keep moving." They bolted, hearts pounding, the whispering voices growing louder, chanting, calling their names, promising eternity beneath the waves. Suddenly, moonlight revealed a narrow gap between the cliffs, a jagged path leading upward. "Over there," Lucas yelled. They ran, leaping over jagged rocks, dodging pale hands reaching for them. The waves crashed closer, almost swallowing them whole. Finally, they reached the path and scrambled onto the road. The glowing water faded, the pale figures vanished beneath the surface, and the whispering stopped. For a brief moment, silence. They thought they had escaped, but none noticed the faint blue glow reflecting in the rearview mirror as they drove away. The chilling conclusion. The car roared down the coastal road, tires kicking up sand and pebbles. Aiden, Mia, Lucas, and Chloe sat in silence, hearts still hammering, lungs still burning from their desperate escape. The beach, the nightmare, was behind them, or so they thought. Mia broke the silence. Did we really see all of that? Her voice trembled. Lucas shook his head. It's impossible. None of it should exist. Chloe shivered, staring out the rearview mirror. I feel like it's still watching us. Aiden glanced at the mirror, then froze. A faint blue glow shimmered in the distance, reflecting off the edge of the road behind them. Pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Maybe it's just water, he muttered, trying to convince himself. But the glow grew brighter, and then shapes appeared within it. Pale faces, countless eyes staring, mouths opening silently, whispering their names. The car engine roared, tires squealing, but no matter how fast they drove, the glow followed them. It clung to the rearview mirror, flickered in the side windows, and swirled like mist around the tires. Chloe screamed, "It's not letting us go." The wind howled outside, carrying ghostly whispers, chanting promises of eternity beneath the waves. Suddenly, a single pale hand pressed against the rear windshield. The car jerked, skidding dangerously, but no one outside. Just something unseen, pushing them toward the edge of the road. Aiden slammed on the brakes. Silence. The glow vanished. The waves receded. The beach was gone. But when they finally stopped, trying to catch their breath, they noticed the back seat. Another pale figure sitting silently, staring, eyes wide, mouth closed, waiting. And in the rearview mirror, a whisper formed in frost on the glass. "Next time you won't escape." The friends never spoke of that night again. But every stormy night, each of them hears the waves whisper their names, reminding them that some beaches should never be found.